Welcome to the Free Idea Podcast! Woohoo! I'm Mario Bros. Today, I am trying something new. This is a recording of the podcast while driving through Austin's traffic. Why? Because this goddamn traffic lasts about 30 minutes to an hour on the morning, and it will be another hour back home. So, for that reason, I want to take advantage of this every time I get home and I want to do a podcast, but I have no energy to do anything because I'm a tired teacher. And that's right. I'm still working as a teacher. I haven't had the time. Well, I have had the time to do more podcasting, but no energy at all. Whenever I have time left for me, I just want to relax, do nothing, or go out, be with my wife, or play games. Or just be a zombie on TikTok on the sofa. But no energy. No, no, no. So, this is my new trial. I'm gonna record it here, and then later I'm gonna get home, work on it on the computer, and hopefully take out all the car sound effects. And if not, if this sounds okay, I may just upload it like this from my phone, which may be faster and may encourage me to just keep podcasting, because the point to me, in my opinion, is to keep podcasting regardless of quality. As long as it's good enough quality, I don't want to stay behind. Podcasting is something I really enjoy. All I have to do is talk, and there's not much investment to it other than talk. And that's something I already can do. Well, let me tell you about some random stuff. For example, right now I'm on my way to work as a teacher for 6th grade. And boy oh boy, middle school and 6th grade, it's some monster. I remember when I was in 6th grade, it was the best year of my life. I really loved it, but that's because I had a very different experience. Coming from the US, it was my first year, and I was only with people that were also coming from Mexico. So I wasn't with the Americans, with the normal population. So 6th grade was beautiful. Everything was new. The culture, the school having air conditioner was new. Having food for free was new. Beautiful desks was new. Walls, decorations, everything that Americans take for granted was new for me. So even coloring things was new. Even having a teacher that was like, "Congratulations, good work," was completely new. When I was in Mexico, all we got was screaming at us. Teachers very angry for elementary. I get it now. I get it. Elementary is also a monster. But, nothing like the positive reassurance of American teachers. Was very different back then. And I had a great, very, very enjoyable year. Unfortunately, I'm teaching the students I'm teaching don't have much of that experience. They already have been Americanized for a while, so they take a lot of things for granted that other people wouldn't. Like always having a pencil, and if you don't have one, I'll give you one. Supplies. Most of their backpacks are for decoration. They don't put any books in there. They only put chips and makeup. That's all it is for. Maybe a laptop, because it's issued by the school. And even that, they will forget almost every day. The laptop or their charger. But they will not forget their phone. Look at that amazing thing. Forget school supplies, but don't forget your phone. Interesting. Some adults are the same. You will forget your car keys, but you will not forget your phone. Sometimes the phone is more important than anything else. Even getting out of the house without a phone in your pocket, even if you're going for the mail, feels like you're being naked. Super strange, but it is what it is. Here we have some traffic. People slowing down for no reason, because this is one of those orange blue lights to the right on no lane, but people like to slow down para mirar el chisme. Yep, they love el chisme. I hate when that happens, but I've noticed it, and you have. Whenever people, whenever you're in the road, and there's an accident, and your lane is going forward, and the accident is entirely on another street, not even on your lane, not even going the same direction you're going, is totally on the opposite side of the road. Your lane will still slow down and cause traffic because they love el chisme. Oh, yeah, they love looking at what happened, and I love it too. So when they do that, I also slow down. I'm like, ooh, what we got here? Some drama. Some drama to this boring routine life. It is the way of the American life. I bet you that happens in every country, not just here. But yeah, so I was saying sixth grade, it's a monster of its own. Students nowadays, yep, very disrespectful, of course. You gotta have some thick skin, thicker than a cheese wheel, because they will treat you worse than their friends and worse than their parents. They will say some things they would never say to their parents. Oh no, you know why? Because their parents can pow pow, but teachers cannot pow pow. And they know that. So we gotta figure out other types of consequences for those. But anyways, it is what it is. I don't recommend to anybody. I don't think I'll be a teacher next year, but we'll see. I do have some plans to get another career, because also this career is very exhausting. To all the teachers out there, congratulations, and I'm sorry for you. This is as exhausting as being a doctor or a lawyer, but with no doctor pay or lawyer pay. Or none of the cool rewards about going to a party and saying, I'm a doctor. What do you do for a living? If you say I'm a teacher, it's often like you get responses of, oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Which is good. It's good. At least people understand that it's really rough. It's really rough. And there's many jobs out there that earn more money with a whole lot less stress. But the good thing about it that I would say is, for those who are teachers, if they ever go to another career, they'll be extremely grateful and easy to accommodate. Easy to be grateful about anything about that workplace. Like, I know for a fact that whenever I leave and I get any other job, whatever it is, even if it's flipping burgers, I'll be like, hey, at least I'm flipping burgers. There's no screaming all over me. Even if I get screamed like twice by a customer, I'll be like, hey, at least it was a nice customer. It wasn't, I don't know, 20 kids every day for every class or something like that. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, it's a rough job out there. And we always want less workload and more pay, but it is what it is. It's been like this since I can remember, since I was in school. It's been the same complaints about the job. I've heard the same things. It only gets worse and worse throughout the years. That's all it is. Pay gets worse and more responsibility gets thrown into us. I didn't know that until I became one. How hard it was to actually be a teacher. Because most of the time it's just, you think as a student that a teacher, all he does is comes to work, throws some random assignment on the board, and then says, go and do it. And after you say go and do it, everybody does it. And then you just chill for those minutes as a teacher. And then they give you the work, and then you just look at it with your eyes, and automatically it's graded or something. Nope. Nope. I wish it was just like that, but no, there's meetings in times where you're supposed to be doing planning for your next classes. At the same time, you have to fill out surveys, go to trainings, help a student that got lost because they lost their schedule, get into some drama, attend to other meetings with more drama, get interrupted by other teachers because they also need help. It's just, it's a lot. And I'm also the teacher that interrupts other teachers. I try not to do it, but I do it a lot as a new teacher. And yeah, it is a lot. And everybody's busy and everybody got a ton of stuff, and we just gotta make it work. Teaching is the only job where, for example, it's so rough that teaching is the only job where you cannot do your job because you were doing your job. That's right. The only job where you cannot do your job because you were doing your job. That's how much stuff they throw at us. What other job is like this? I don't know. Hopefully doctors and lawyers, but I don't know. Even they have to work in a setting where there's peace and quiet. Well, teachers have to do some crazy stuff while the room is chaotic. We are living day to day in chaos. So whenever you see a teacher and you see them so calm and with incredible social skills or public speaking skills, it's because we're always in chaos. We're always talking to a people, to a group, always from start to finish for 7 hours, straight up, no rest. No rest. The only rest we get is testing time, when finally the class has to be quiet, which also takes work to do. It doesn't just happen because it's a test. No. We have to work on it and teach them how to be quiet. And then it happens, and even then, there's a ton of stuff to do. At least is the only peace and quiet we get. That's something I realized, that as a teacher, I love test days. Those are the only days I get to rest my voice. I don't get to rest anything else. I am still working on a lot of stuff in the background, but my voice thanks me during test. And that said, we're gonna have a test very soon, for 2 days, and I'm in love with that. Every time it's a test day for those days, I feel like it's a holiday. Yeah, a holiday. Imagine that. Imagine where your job, where doing your job is so rough that when you get a little bit of light work, it becomes a holiday. That happens in some jobs. I had those where I just have less customers and it feels like a holiday. And then you say, well, teachers work less days. Oh boy, yes we do. But we work 12-hour days. 12-hour days. So yeah, we work about half the year. But then if we work twice the hours, that still makes up for the other half days that we don't work. If I were to only work my 8 hours a day, contracted hours, there would be no class for the next day. I'm gonna tell you that. There will be no planning. There will be nothing set up for the next day. It'll be just me winging it 100%, and it's gonna be super sloppy. Sloppier than a sloppy Joe. So by force, we have to work more than 8 hours a day. About 12, it's right. Because we get home, and then whatever time we arrive, if it's 6 or 7, depending how far you live, like me, you still have to work all the way until 9 or 10. Lesson planning, putting grades, putting information to students that misbehave, consequences, more trainings, more emails, random questions. And that's just me on my first year. There's people that are way more involved because they have more classes, they have different grades, they have a lot of parent communication, and then they coach sport. I don't. I just focus on one class, one grade, 5 times a day. And it's still hell. And I don't communicate with parents that much either. Only when giving positive notes or consequences, but it's rare. I try to deal with that with my own in-classroom consequences, like moving seats and talks one-on-one or lunch detentions, which is my last thing, because come on. Even giving lunch attention takes away my lunch. So when I give somebody lunch attention, I'm giving myself lunch attention. Look at that. It's like if you want to give a consequence real bad to someone, you are giving that to yourself. It feels like that phrase that I've heard in the memes of the internet, where if a president needed to launch nuclear weapons and missiles, first would have to kill his right side man and rip his heart to get the code to launch the nuclear weapon, so that at least he would have blood on his hands and he would have to kill someone before he kills the entire world. That is an interesting thought. Very, very interesting. And it happens as well in teaching. If I want to give somebody the consequences of being away from their lunch friends, I have to sacrifice my lunch first, so I can see their face and give them more work, which means I'm working more instead of resting. So that student must have done something really bad to get that lunch detention. Yep, I don't do lunch detention lightly. Oh no, I really give like 6 warnings before I do it. Or if something happens like a fight, or like a little fight, where they get hands on each other, they catch hands, and I'm like, okay, yep, nope, this does not need warning. You already know this is not right. And boom. And to all those people that are like, yeah, but you gotta fight in your life once in a while. It's like, yes, you can. But I should not allow it, because if I do, I'm sending a message to the entire class that it's okay to fight. And if it's okay to fight, they'll do it more. And if they do it more, it becomes more chaos. And if they think it's okay to fight, they'll think it's okay to do other things. And that's where I have to become the person I never wanted to become, and be an angry teacher for anything they do, even things that don't make sense. I have to be like, no. Why not? Because no. Because no, it's because it's hard to explain to you the complicated chain reaction that is gonna create if you do the thing. It's okay if you do this thing, but technically, as the days pass, it's just going to create a chain reaction of other things that you think it's okay to do, and they'll get worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is why you cannot chew gum in your class, or eat, because then they'll be bringing sodas, and then they'll spill them on the floor. Oh, but it's just a soda, it's my juice. Okay, and then you let them have their juice, and then they take out their makeup, and they start doing makeup, and I'm like, oh, why you let me drink my juice? And no. It just becomes a... Whew. I think the most important lesson I learned is that they're still kids. Even though even if they sound very knowledgeable and they have good points here and there about your rules, even if they make a lot of sense sometimes, there's a reason why things are done the way they are. It's complicated to explain it. So it brings me back to the advice, which is they are still kids. No matter how mature they sound, how knowledgeable, they are still kids. And that means that they will still do things that are driven by their high emotions. And you know it, that when you are very emotional, you do things that don't make sense, or that even if you try to explain them the best way you can, they're still not correct to do. Adults, you know this. When you're angry, you will say things you will regret. Middle schoolers do this all the time. But they will not regret it. That's the worst part. They will not. They would love to try it again and again. Until something shameful happens, like lunch detention, or bringing a parent to sit next to them, or a parent conference, or writing an essay, or some silly consequence. And yeah, I'm on my way. So right now, I'm just taking this off my chest and trying something new, which is record on my AirPods Pro using my iPhone while driving a nice car. But not a NASCAR, just a nice car. I'm driving slow in Austin's traffic. Austin's traffic. And talking about Austin and the traffic, why do people want to live here? I tell you why I want to live here. because other people want to live here, and that's it. Because if other people want to live here, then that makes me have more opportunity to have jobs that have good money and all the other stuff. But unfortunately, it also brings a humongous competition that I don't have the qualifications. So sometimes I think maybe I should move out of Austin because it's a very high level city. You know, if this was a video game, um, I came here. This is a city level 120, and I came here not as a beginner, not as a level 1, but I came here as a level 15, being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make it big in here. And this is 120 level city. And then I just go ahead and kill a little monster, and it's like, what? I just did 1 damage out of 100 trillion health that he has. And that's me right here with my job hunting. I came here like a level 15 in a city that is 120 requirement to live and get a job. And I'm just like, I want a job. Can you give me a job? And everybody's like, sure, here's a job killing bugs. Sure, you have a master's degree? Perfect. Here's a job for cleaning pools. The only better job I could get is, sure, here's a middle school 6th grade. And I'm like, nice. Guys, these 6th graders are little angels. I love them. My first 2 weeks, they're incredible. And everybody just laughed and said, wait a month in. And yep, they were true to their words. Now those are little devils. And they love to challenge authority. Oh boy, they love it. They do. From 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, I thought I had the best, but I don't know. It's up to interpretation. Most people like 8th graders because they're more chill, ready for high school, a little bit more balanced in their emotions. Other people say 7th graders are more whatever type of attitude, like I don't want to do anything. And then 6th graders are like whatever type of attitude, I don't want to do anything. Plus, let's make some drama. Let's make some high emotions drama about fighting and friends and no friends and girlfriends and boyfriends, and all they want to do is learn how to kiss. And I'm here trying to teach them how to write a letter in 2024. A letter in 2024. I never had to learn how to make a letter. I only went to Google and I would put letter layout, and then I would just copy it and be done with it. And then I have to tell them what a text structure is, which I never knew in my life, and I never needed it to know it. Pardon me, but I have a master's degree with a 4.0 GPA, and I've never had to know anything that I'm teaching right now, right here, which is funny. But hey, that's what the government of Texas wants me to teach, so I'll teach it because government of Texas wants it. And if I don't do it, they'll fire me. And that means no money, no food, no house, no life. So it is what it is. We don't teach what they need to know. We teach what the people high above think they need to know. So here and there, I try my best, as every other teacher does, and realizes that curriculum is low par, sucks basically. So every teacher does his own thing eventually, here and there. Like, they follow the curriculum, they follow what we need to teach, but they throw a spin in it when they're like, you know what, this is what they actually need to know. And that's what they teach. And you know, that's what I do once in a while. So that's why they have a routine to write a journal every day for half a page with a fun topic. What's your favorite animal? If you had a superpower, what would it be? And then it goes a little bit more crazier. If you wear a backpack, what would you think and say? Imagine you were thrown into a dark corner and you miss your person. What is there to do, to say? What happens? And, you know, just some fun topics. I can throw you a trillion more, but 3 is about right. And then we read every day because reading is important, not because reading has to be boring, but because they'll be doing reading their entire life pretty much. And now with the phones and computers, there's more reading than you think. There's actually, in fact, more reading because you have to read texts from your friends and boyfriends and girlfriends, and then you have to write them a letter. I love letter. So that's a lot of more writing to do. And if you're into the news, you have to read news reports. Of course, you can listen to the people that read those news to you, but then you go ahead and read the comments of the people that are in support or against, and then you make your own opinion from the comments that you have to read. So yeah, there's a lot of reading involved now. And so we do a lot of reading every day, a lot of writing every day. And that's what I can include my little spice into this teaching gig for what it is. And I'm almost there. I'm almost at my job. And also, teachers become parents in some way. Even if they don't have kids, you just can't not become a parent to some of these kids. They just go through some rough things, some rough life things, and they look so cute, and they're so small, and they remind you a lot of you once in a while, here and there, with some attitudes. Even the bad attitudes, you're like, I was the same way. Yeah, I used to disrespect people like that too. Oh, I used to fight like that. Yep, I get it. I get it. And so you kind of become a parent of sorts. Well, I guess that the title of teacher supposed to be somebody who teaches you about anything. Could be a mentor, a coach, a teacher. It's like your kung fu teacher. You know, he teaches you some fighting skills, but also through kung fu, he teaches you about life. So yeah, it's just part of being a teacher that you become somewhat of a small parent to these kids who probably see you more than their parents. Let's be honest. They're here and the best hours of their life energy too, from 8 a.m. all the way till 4 p.m. Like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you're an adult that works, you know that those are your best hours. Those are the hours that you have the most energy, the most positive outlook in life. Those are those hours. So yeah, those are the hours that we have their children, and then once they go home, they're already kind of tired, and their mind is, they just want to do anything else but work. And that's when the parents get him. But the kids just want to do anything else but work. So they want to jump around, they want to play, they want to run, they want to joke, they want to talk. That's great. So they go home, and then their parents just come from work, tired, and all they want to do is relax, watch TV, drink something, be chill. But instead, they have this very talkative child that just come from school, and it's full on energy mode where he wants to run around and this and that. Hopefully, the child is tired by then, so the parent can have a break. But no. So you see this conflictiveness. This is why parents have a hard time raising children in America. Also because they have 2 or 3 jobs in this economy. And all you want to do is get home and chill. But now you have this 1,000 little kitties as your roommates that you have to take care of. I feel for parents. I definitely do. Some of them like kids, and that's great for them, but I feel like most of them, they have a tough time. Let's put it that way. So I've learned a lot. I'm yawning. I'm almost there. Almost there. Yep. Yep, just going here through the motions of being a teacher. On my first podcast on the car. That was enjoyable. It was nice and fun for me. Finally, something to do while riding in this car that is not listening to political podcast about how America is falling apart, or listening to audiobooks about how to get rich in America because it's falling apart. So you better get rich, so you're not left behind. This is much better. By the way, I'm tired of those political stuff, but to be honest, it's the only thing that entertains me. Because in some way, those political arguments are like real life updates. You know how video games get updated all the time? They're like new character, skin, unlocked, new enemies, new arena, new rules, weapons balanced. They do less damage or more damage, new weapon available. And in America, or just your life in general, the only real life update that you get is politics. New law. More people coming in through the border. New characters. New dangers. New restaurants. new food. You get all that. And then more taxes or less taxes, more houses, less houses. And you're like, ooh, now I can live in a nicer place. So yeah, updates. Updates is the only real life update. Alrighty, my people, I'm on my way out. Peace out. Thank you for listening. See you soon.